What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtown the Downside, episode 139. And today we are here with the OGs, Rico and Mambo.
What the hell? Let me see that. Oh, you guys.
Is that a different one from last time?
No, that's the same one. I bought that one when you were on last time. I had to make
he tripped me out. Last time I was here, he had a cowbell. I was like, whoa, you got a cowbell too?
That thing's got a handle on it?
Yeah, dude.
That's a real with the grip. That thing's a real deal,
Amazon,
man.
dude. They got you.
I'm telling you, bro. These young kids nowadays,
They got it all, right?
man.
I need to get the soundboard like you guys have, man. But, dude, from the bottom of my heart, I want to tell you guys thank you for being here.
No, thanks for having us, man.
Of course, man. It makes me feel like we're on the right track, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've had this conversation before, but I've been listening to you guys ever since I was a kid, you know, on the way to EO Green and Wainimi, and just it's surreal to have you here.
What year was it?
Dude, it was about 82 when I was in...
No. See, now I know you're laughing.
I don't want to age you guys. No, I just of course the mid 90s, you know, early 2000s. It was just I brought it up when we did the interview that we used to go to where they would have the stops at, right? Say, oh, we're gonna be at Jack in the Box on Rose.
Oh yeah.
So we would all pull up, and we didn't really have much to do on the weekends. So whenever you guys would have a stop, we would go, and it turned out we would go so much that I forget who it was, but they said, hey, you guys can't come and get free shit anymore.
You got banned.
You got 30 days. Dude. 30 days. Once every 30 days, right?
That's hilarious, man. Well, we've been together since '96.
Working.
Yeah.
Don't send the wrong message out there, bro.
Yeah, since '96. So that's when
awesome,
when we first started doing stuff, and you know, thank God here we are today, still doing it.
So for everybody that isn't familiar with you guys, can you give us a quick breakdown of who you are and what you do?
Go ahead, man. You know all the dates and everything better than I do.
We started together in '96. It was like late '96, and we started as a night show. He was already in the business for a couple of years, and when I came in as his intern, answering phones, and from there we had solo shows. I started learning more of how to run the board because he's always been the guy behind the control board.
Yeah.
I ended up doing weekends, and that's how I kind of learned the business. And, you know, he ended up leaving to Vegas. I left to Fresno for a while, and then we in the early 2000s is when we started doing the morning show. Got
you. So back in the early 2000s, what station was it?
We started on Q.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had left to Vegas, and when he came back, I had already been there maybe a year back from Fresno, and we decided to. Well, they did some management changes, and we did what we wanted to do. You know, back when we started, is get a morning show together.
Yeah.
So when he was in Vegas, we practically had to make him quit his job over there to get him over here.
So what made you go to Vegas?
It was a larger market. I think at that point I was ready to, for whatever reason, to go off the air.
Yeah. And
do more of the production stuff, all the commercials and stuff like that. And they still let me do a Sunday shift show, whatever you want to call it. And so, you know, just to kind of keep the chops wet is what, you know, how I wanted to do things. And they agreed, and we were all good. So I went over there, had that opportunity to do that in a larger market. And it was weird because you go into a larger market and they don't allow you to do all the stuff that I was so used to doing, because in a small market, you're wearing a ton of hats. You know, you're cleaning out the restroom one day, the next day you're, I don't know, pushing the car because the battery's dead on the station vehicle or whatever. So you do everything. And when it, you know, going to the larger market for me was a trip, because they would say, hey man, I know it's not in your contract, but can you help us out with, and you helped out or you didn't.
Like minor stuff that we would help each other out anyway with. So,
stuff that we wouldn't even think of. Hey, give me a hand.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You know, they would say, it would always start off with, "Hey, I know it's not in your contract,
Yeah.
but," and so I found that weird. I'm like, let's just get stuff done. I wasn't used to that.
Did you have the mentality of, we're all on the same team, we just need to get things taken care of?
Yeah. Which was for me, for them to say that. I always hated when they asked that.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt, and that's how I thought that everybody's supposed to think. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're on the same team. What are you asking me for? Let's get it done.
Yeah. With that mentality, it'll definitely help you get a lot further in life rather than just saying like, hey, it's not my job.
We've seen that too in this market
Yeah.
with people we've worked with.
Really?
Yeah, and I think to add to the reason he left, and the reason I'll say forced to leave, was management at the time was like the worst.
Yeah,
and at least for me it was a time where I learned how not to do radio when I was in charge or started taking it serious.
Yeah.
But management had to do a lot with me leaving, aka I got fired.
Yeah.
And with him, it was like I could tell, and knowing him now, I could tell that that wasn't a comfortable situation for him to be in.
Yeah.
And I know when that opportunity presented itself to him, that's
I think it made it a lot easier for me to say, yeah, let's talk, let's negotiate, let's make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Where if I was truly that happy, I think I would have, not even entertained it.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, like he was just saying, I think management really had to do about 80, 90, 95, 96, 97, 98% of me just saying, you know what?
I think that's where I learned, how for a while the word haters was like popular. I think that's where I learned like, like when someone tells you, hey, don't do that, but that they do it.
Yeah.
So we used to do bits on our show when we were doing nights, and they used to tell us, hey, don't do that. And then the next morning he was doing the show and he would do all the things he would tell us not to do.
So you think he was telling you so you're not taking his good ideas, or so he could take
but
your
the,
good
no, he would take our ideas.
They're not even his ideas though.
Yeah.
It's like we would do something at night, like tonight.
Yeah.
Whatever we did, we'd do it tonight.
Yeah.
Well, then he'd call us up and say, hey, don't be doing that. The next morning, we'd hear the exact same thing that we did on the morning show.
Really?
So it got so bad that people would say, I'm going to listen to you guys tonight so I can know what they're going to do in the morning.
Shit.
Yeah. That's how bad it was.
So it's obvious to say that person's not around anymore?
Correct.
Got you. And was that the reason that you guys decided to come back?
Somewhat, because I think like they didn't want me back, but they, he left on good terms. I obviously, got let go. But when I came back, he was still there, but it was more like he wasn't really my boss.
Yeah.
That I had to deal with on a daily basis. So it was a little different.
Yeah.
So I knew he wouldn't come back. So once he left, that was an opportunity to, get the show together again.
And what year was that you guys both came back?
So I was back. I think I was gone for maybe like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I was back by like mid 2000s maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a year later is when he came back.
And that was at Q?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there was that stint in time where you guys did go to the other station.
Right.
Right?
Right.
How long were you guys over there for?
05 to like 09, almost 10.
No, because I think we only did 3.
I think
it
we
was
did
just
a 3-year contract, and
Yeah.
then we ended up staying for like another year.
Yeah, something like that.
So like
yeah.
it was like 09.
Yeah.
Got you. Now, when you do these sort of moves from one station to another, do you feel like your audience follows you guys?
I feel like they do. I mean, in a small market like this,
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell because you run into them. I mean, I know people don't listen to us from the beginning of the show to the end.
Yeah.
Everyone has options, and during that time, they jumped around from radio station to radio station to see who was playing their favorite song. But there is people who think, like, hey, if you listen to them, you better not be listening to us. And
Really?
we've always been open. Like, we've always shouted out friends that work at other radio stations and done like,
and we still do it.
Yeah.
We've always done the stuff that they say you can't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, it's always been like, look, like, we're not the only ones in town. We understand that, especially now, like, you could go to iTunes, you could go to Spotify.
Yeah.
There's tons of way that you could listen to music now.
Yeah, definitely. The way that me personally that I consume music is way different than it was, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago.
Right.
Even most of the stuff that I consume to this day isn't even music. It's more on the podcast side of things.
Yeah.
And even with radio, my commute to work is 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
And we don't have any way to listen to radio inside of here. So all the stuff that I usually listen to is, Spotify or iTunes or things like that.
Yeah, one of the things that we've tried, and we're in a smaller market, is we used to joke about us being the only radio station that wasn't online for the longest time. But you know what? Finally, we ended up getting like an app. We ended up streaming online.
Yeah.
And that's another way that we know people listen to us. And the cool thing about that is a lot of people are moving out of California and are moving out of the 805, and we get that love from those people that move to wherever it is that they move.
So what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that, bringing that you guys together bring like the feeling of home and comfort to somebody who's not here anymore?
That's for me personally. I got hit up like I think when we were on Christmas, New Year's break, because we always take time off the last week of the year or whatever. But during that time, for whatever reason, I was telling Mambo that I got hit up quite a bit from people who were quite a few from Mexico and like Philly,
Wow.
like back in that area. And I used to listen to you guys, and how can I listen to you guys now? In having people reach out to me like that, and them feeling that part of home, that's huge, man. I don't take that for granted one bit. I mean, I think it's a complete honor that, people still think of us after being gone for whether it's 1 month or 1 year or whatever it's been, but to have them still think of us.
Yeah.
And reach out and say, hey,
and not even being in the area.
Yeah, not even being in the area. I mean, what an honor that is, man. That's huge. It's not anything that I take light.
And even more now, I think, because like I said earlier, there's a lot more choices than there was.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s.
I think you guys are as much a staple as to the 805 as Toppers is.
No, but Toppers is good though.
Toppers makes money, bro.
Right, exactly.
So fast forward today, you guys are the morning show on Q95.9. But you also have other endeavors that you have going on, which is the Four Locos podcast.
Yeah, we started a podcast like late last year. And it's to me it's still in the building stages, but
Yeah.
I mean, to me it's a lot of fun just because it's like this, like
Yeah.
we're just having a conversation. A lot of old stories come up because they're
Sometimes too many of them do.
the people on it is Rico, myself, and then one of our old coworkers, Stutter, and then one of our listeners who became like friends and family with us, Marco.
Yeah.
And it's just cool because we meet up once a week and we just each one of us brings up a topic and we discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty dope because you get 4 different points of views on the topic.
Dude, I love it, man. I love the show, the format of it. The 10-minute segments. Each person brings a idea or a question up, and you get 10 minutes to attack it. And I think that it gives you guys so much more of a freedom that you're able to just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, even when we do other podcasts, I feel weird like when because there's times when I'm on the radio,
Yeah.
and then like if something happens, I'm the type of person that'll say like, what the fuck, and there's times where I say like, oh, I almost cussed on the radio, but on the podcast I still catch myself like holding back.
You know what's funny? Whenever we do the podcast, is that I always think of the first one we ever did. Do you remember? It was at the Universal. I think it was at City Walk. And remember, it was with
oh, that's right. That's
Manny
right. Yeah,
Maldonado. I'll never forget that. It was with a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just to have him, have this radio-like environment. But, it was just so
able to cuss and able, yeah.
And that was our first time doing that. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on here, man? I can say that?
Because for years, when we first started, I always had a little sheet of paper. Like, till this day, like I don't know the phone number to the radio station, so it's right there. I don't know what radio station we're on, so there's a sticker right there.
Yeah.
Back then, I had a sign that says "Don't cuss."
Yeah.
I remember,
and that was my thing to remind me, like, you better not say a bad word.
Is this still an issue to this day?
To me, it is. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Once in a huge while, I'll get close, but nothing. Like sometimes, like him, I'm like, oh, I can almost sense it. So, we have a delay button that sits right on the board. So, sometimes I'm just resting my thumb on it just in case.
So how does that work?
So basically it's a 7-second delay.
Okay.
And so what happens, like if I say yes, now 7 seconds from now, you'll hear yes again on the air. So let's say, heaven forbid, but he says a bad word. I just hit that button hold it down for a couple seconds, and it'll skip over that piece of audio.
Oh, got you.
So it'll sound like the record skipped almost.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And
so you could actually cuss, press the button.
Well, we don't want to make it a habit.
I didn't know that.
You gotta keep your finger on the button.
We don't want to make it a habit. But there's been some guests that we've had that I've had it, because we've only got 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And so I've had to press it down so much that.
How many times is it? Well,
that's so I've got 7 seconds.
Uh-huh.
So if I'm holding it down 1, 2, 3, well then I've got 4 seconds.
Oh, gotcha.
Before so it builds up. So as like let's say during the commercial break, if it's just a person that's talking, kind of like the way I am right now, then during those little dead spots is when it'll build up. Millisecond by millisecond, whatever. So when because we play so much music, it'll take a long time for the that time to build up. So once we're out, and it'll take forever to build up again. So
when's the last time that you guys had an issue?
It happens a lot with guests, right?
Yeah.
Really?
It happens more with comedians. We'll sit there and we'll say, hey man, we're gonna go on the air, don't cuss, and talk close to the microphone. And so,
and most of the time, their first words is a bad word. So yeah,
just because they're so used to that, they go up on stage when they're performing, it's, they'll start dropping F-bombs or whatever it is, So.
Yeah. Now with the podcast, Rico, have you felt a little more of like freedom to be able to express yourself more?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm able to talk about whatever it is, and I can say things. I don't have to pay attention to being so politically correct or anything like that. But I'm still not the. I'm not the one who's and it's just not me.
Yeah.
To be sitting there and talking, F this or I don't know. It's like I don't drink really, and
he's a boring person.
You gotta have some vices, bro. Right. We're gonna dig into it. We're gonna find out what it is.
He makes what do you call? He knits as a hobby.
That's boring.
You gotta have something, bro.
You know what? Honestly, what my vice is, I think, is because of my side business. I think it's all my audio gear that I do have, and now I'm a tech geek, and I think that's what my vice is. And Mambo has seen plenty of packages from Amazon that
this fool orders so much shit at work behind his lady's back.
That comes to
7 seconds right now. Block that out the show. I hear it.
But I think that's really probably my because I don't know. Like you said, I'm pretty boring, I guess. Really.
Have you felt like you've been like that through most of your life?
No, I think as I got older, I kind of started becoming more and more boring. But I think there was a time where I was probably fun. I don't know when.
Shit.
No,
I know it hasn't been since '96. Cause fuck. If any of that was fun, damn.
I think I just used to be careful when I did stuff.
Yeah.
I'd either leave the area or
Yeah, he was low key hood rat. Serious, bro.
or I would just,
Yeah.
you don't say nothing, I don't say nothing. Cool, we're gone. Let's.
And he's talking about the girls, not me. All right. So, yeah.
I've said this before. We've all got to pass.
Yeah.
It's just it is what it is, and you just grow from it.
Yeah. I always felt like as growing up, I think I always had an older mentality, and I usually never let myself get caught up in things that were maybe like reckless or they could get me in sort of trouble. And then I kind of, looking back at it now, I kind of feel like, I don't know, that I kind of missed an era of irresponsibility,
right?
Because ever since I got into my adulthood, I always felt like I was on the more responsible side of things.
Right.
Which, I mean, from the outside looking in, you would say that that's a great thing. But then sometimes you don't have those stories that you could look back at when you were wild or what have you.
Well, I think like there's been several occasions where I go talk to kids, and I always tell them, live your life. Live life to the fullest. You're only going to be 17 once. You're only going to be 18 once, or whatever. Whatever age group you are. But like I was kind of like you, where I was the responsible one. Not to say that I didn't go party, because I did, but
and smoke weed and drink.
We've all got to pass. So I mean, but even then, if I was, high or drunk, there was always the thought in the back of my head, like, shit, I gotta get home. I need to sober up or something. I was always that guy.
Yeah.
So somehow I always ended up taking everybody home.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that, man. Do you feel like that's what works with the dynamic of you two, of having the complete opposite with Mambo?
Yeah, definitely.
Without a doubt.
When I started taking radio serious, I always wondered, like, why does this work?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But once I started going to a radio conference or anything to do with radio to learn more about it, was if two people are the same, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have, two different sides. With us, like it's always worked, and thank God, anytime like we include someone else, we always figure out how to make it work, because we always know each other and the chemistry's there, and we try to figure out how to, bring in that third person.
Yeah. So, do you feel like, Mambo, when you were growing up, that you really didn't have much of that reservation of, watching, the things that you would do, or rather, like just living more in the moment?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up where, I don't know if we discussed it last time I was here, but I grew up, everyone where I grew up, they were older than me by a couple of years. So I had to act their age.
Yeah.
So I acted a little bit older than what I was, and anytime they wanted to like do something dumb, who do we send? Send the young kid. Yeah. So I guess I was always like the risk taker of the group.
Yeah.
Because I had to, and I think even like when we started the show, to this day, they always like say like, oh, he's the good one, you're the travieso. And to this day, it's still like sticks, it sticks with me.
Do you still feel like that you have that inside of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I just, we look at things a whole lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I see both sides of you guys, and I think that the perfect spot would be like the happy medium, because you're right. You're only a teenager for so long,
right?
And sometimes you shouldn't just worry about whatever the consequences are going to be, and you live, because at that time it might be a big deal, but in the future you're going to look back at those times and you're going to be a lot more happy that you took those risks rather than sitting back.
Well, there's moments that I look back at now and just say, I think to myself, like, man, I should have done this. I
Yeah.
should have gone here. Should have taken that opportunity or whatever. But because
That was your topic last week.
I was responsible, I chose not to.
Yeah.
Or I had, because I think of, my parents or family member, whatever it was, taking their feelings into consideration. I'm not gonna lie. I think about it now. It's like, man, that's irritating as hell. That I was even thinking like that at such a young age. It's like, why?
I could totally agree with you on that, man. I mean, in hindsight, everything worked out perfectly on this side how I wanted it to be, and who knows what I would have got into if I would have had a different mentality.
Right.
So everything worked out perfectly, but yeah, you're right. Sometimes I wish those past experiences that I would just maybe took it a little further, would have said yes when I would have said no, and not putting yourself in dangerous situations drinking and driving or something like that. But, at least taking that invite. If, you meet a girl or something and say, hey, you want to go to Vegas for the weekend or whatever? Like, all right, cool, let's do it, instead of thinking like, oh, well, I don't have that much money. I got to save up. I got the bills coming up.
Well, what is my wife going to say?
Exactly. Well, I got a girlfriend. And what's she going to think? I was like, damn it. Why do I have to be responsible? Just kidding.
But that's good, man. That's what conversations like this, they're good for, people that could listen and apply the thoughts that we have in our own experiences and apply that to their life. And, maybe we could encourage somebody to take
just live
risk.
life, man.
Yeah.
Live life, have fun. And, tomorrow isn't guaranteed.
Yeah.
We've been hearing a lot of that lately, but
yeah, man. Speaking of that, rest in peace to Kobe and his daughter and, the rest of the people that were on that helicopter, man.
To me, it's crazy, and I keep telling Rico is how the effect that this death has had on the whole world.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. You really don't even have to be a fan of basketball, just to feel that impact is infectious, and it really makes you think about things a lot differently. Even for a father to pass away with his child and leave a wife and children behind, and it's terrible, man. It makes you want to just appreciate what you have at that moment.
Right. I've said this before. I think I said a couple of days ago when we were on the air, is that, there's been a lot of actors, entertainers, whatever, athletes who passed away before us, but none have affected me like Kobe has. Last night, prime example, I'm watching TV, they're talking about him, and I start to get choked up. I start to get teary-eyed, and I'm like, what's going on? Why am I doing this? And then I remind myself that this man not only affected those who love the sport, but he affected the world. And
he created memories for families and fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so, it's something that hasn't been light on my heart.
Yeah.
It's been extremely heavy. And I'm sitting here going, man, I didn't know this man. I knew his work, and then come to find out, I think what's great now is how people are bringing out all these personal stories of, people who either played ball with him or he mentored, and how many people he's helping. There's not a lot of people who reach out and like, hey man, let me help you.
Yeah.
So to see and to hear all that stuff, it's just amazing. It's like, no wonder this man has affected so many of us.
Yeah.
It's no wonder. So it's just pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And it really makes me think about, like, no matter how focused you are on your craft, how hard you work, how good of a person you are, death doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
And this is probably the strongest representation of that, And
I think it's a big eye opener for a lot of people.
Definitely, man. It makes you just realize that a lot of stuff that we go through is really petty,
right?
On the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Whether you have a disagreement with a friend or family member or something like that,
right.
It's hard to get over those situations because we all have our ego and pride, and we don't want to let that up. And then you see something like this happen, you're like, wow, if that can happen to him, who's to say it can't happen to me?
Right.
I want to make sure that,
or someone you love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let me tell you this, and this is something that just came up last night. You may be shocked by what I'm about to tell you, because I just told my wife. She's the only one that I've said this to. So in my first marriage, that lasted all but about a year. And there was an old friend of mine. He was my best friend, knew everything about me up to that point. And so he ended up, being super close with my wife. And he ended up telling her all the dirt that I was doing with my now wife.
Oh, shit. Is this a dilemma?
It is.
So you heard it here first, by the way. All right. So anyway, with all this stuff with Kobe, what I'm getting at is that, at up to that point when I said, you know what, you're a punk, you sold me out, that, and the other. And it's been 20 some years maybe that this happened.
Yeah.
And just last night I was thinking, you know what, I think I need to reach out to him.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I really think that I need to reach out to him, apologize to him.
Yeah.
And whether he accepts my apology or not, that's entirely up to him.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I understand. But I think that's something that I need to do, man.
Wow. Is
So-
he local?
That's a shocker to me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's local. As a matter of fact, he lives where I live.
No
So,
shit,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I think I think he'd be really happy to hear from you, Maybe at the time he thought that he was doing the right thing.
Yeah, without a doubt. I knew where his heart was.
Yeah.
But I think that.
But that's his homie, so you know how we can think sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
So-
like, how are you going to sell me out like
Yeah.
that? You know everything about me, and you told her everything. I mean, he told her stuff back from when I was in high school, and the
shit.
stuff I used to do, and I'm like, bro, why? So I had some choice words. It's like there was no need for that. It's just like what I did, that affected her. Okay, but so you can kind of see where I was mad a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I told him some stuff, and I think it was probably been about a couple of years ago that I ran into him while I was out shopping one time, and we were kind of coming toward each other.
Yeah.
We saw each other, and he kind of lifted his head, like nodded, like to say what's up, and I just looked at him. I nodded my head, and I'm like, yeah, I'm out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm not. But, with all this stuff, and, I think for me doing all this, I think one of my inspirations was seeing Shaq and how, his friendship with Kobe wasn't always the best.
Yeah.
And to now hear like the regret that Shaq has, to hear, just.
But even still toward his last days, he says that's his brother.
Yeah.
So So I could see where you're coming from and wanting to reach out to Ray, but one of the things is I think when it comes to your thoughts is I always think like when you're thinking like that, we always think about what are the other people going to think if I do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like, I think you said it, a while back, but I've always thought like this where you don't have to be the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think as we grow older, we, our habits change. What we used to like has changed. And I think like, a situation like this is what's driving you to like, hey man, like that was my boy, my childhood friend.
Yeah.
And like you said, he knows everything about you. Even if it doesn't work out, at least for yourself, you're
And I'm not looking for for him to call me up every day like we used to talk, and we had a lot of things in common, and music was our biggest thing. So I'm not expecting that.
Yeah.
I don't expect, and I hope he, if he accepts my apology, I hope that he doesn't think that I'm going to be calling him up, just because my life has changed, and I'm not the same person today that I was back then. Because I'm married, I got a family, and it's just my priorities have totally changed of what they were back in the day. So I'm not reckless like I once was.
Yeah.
For as boring as I was.
That sounds pretty exciting to me, bro.
Participation trophy Rico over here.
But anyway, so that's what all this has done is just kind of just last night, man. I was just thinking that. I told my wife, I said, hey, you know what I think I need to do? And I think she was probably equally as shocked as you are, Mambo.
Has this been the first time that this idea even popped in your head?
Without a doubt.
Really?
Without a doubt.
Wow.
And it just happened last night. And this is the first time that I'm really talking about it.
And it's funny because I've said, I know I joke around a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, even like when his name was to come up and I would say like, you know, why don't you call Ray up? You know, I could see the
flames.
I don't have a comeback. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So for him to say that, that's like a huge step for him.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, man.
Are you gonna reach out to your ex-wife too?
You're taking it a little too far here.
Right. Thank you.
Are you gonna apologize to her?
No. There's no need to call her for any
You should
reason.
invite them both on the same day.
Double date.
sit Ray and my ex right there and me right there where you're at.
Have him on the podcast. That would be a perfect.
That would be a good
podcast. That's content right there.
The apology tour.
Wow. Dude.
I tune in, bro.
I love it, man. You know, at the end of the day, if all it does for you is just gives you peace, that's the best that you can expect out of it. But who knows? You can rekindle some sort of friendship.
Yeah.
And even if it becomes like once a month, go to breakfast or something like that, you know, it's a beautiful thing because the last thing you want to do is get that news one day.
Yeah.
And then that feeling come to you at that moment.
Yeah. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't turn into a breakfast or once a year or whatever, at least maybe next time you guys run into each other, it is a what's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Handshake or something.
Because I know that was man, I can still see us walking. I mean, it was a total dick move on my part. I know that it was.
I mean, it goes like that sometimes, you know. I try to think about it now. There's not many people that I have that kind of resentment to, and the ones that I do, I haven't felt that feeling, you know. I kind of wrote them off on life, and I think what I do now is, you know, I don't wish harm or bad on anybody. I wish them the best, but I just hope that our paths don't cross, because that's a road that I don't ever want to be back on, you know. And no matter what the situation was, for him to lose your trust, that's a big thing, you know. And for him to take that and just lose it, it's I totally understand how you feel about that, because at the end of the day, that's pretty much all we have. I guess is trust.
I guess back then I didn't understand. You know, it's like I thought we were boys. What where did that left turn happen? You know, and so because I don't know, I just thought that friends were something totally different. You know, up to that point. And so I just felt like, you know, he told my ex all this, and she's bringing up stuff from when I was in high school. I'm like, what the? Where's this?
Well, he didn't have to go that far.
You know, it's like, where's all this?
Did you know he went with his sister to prom?
Nothing wrong with that, right?
And he got lucky.
Okay, we're not talking about that.
Oh, shit. So, Mambo, is there anybody you want to apologize to?
You know what? I apologize to myself.
How about me? We can start with me, okay?
No, you know what? I feel where he's coming from, but I always I think out of the two, I'm more forgiving than him.
Yeah.
Because we've both been through, you know, situations where it's been with the same person. But I mean, he's the same way, but I think I'm more like, you know what? It happened. There's nothing I could do to change it. I know for next time.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been times where he won't talk to anybody, cuts him off, whether it's like business, and with me, it'll be like, I'll still say what's up to him.
Yeah.
He'll like, when he cuts you off, he cuts you off.
And I know that's a real bad thing for me to have, but that's the way, that's what I know. That's what's worked for me. And it sucks, but, yeah, you know, when and my wife and, you know, they all know that.
Yeah.
That once I'm done, I cut you off and I don't need you and we're cool, man.
Yeah.
Bye. Be gone. That's it.
Yeah. No, I could definitely relate to that, man. And sometimes it makes things a lot easier. You know, if I don't have to deal with this person, if they're not in my atmosphere, it's just keep on keeping on.
And if I need that person's help, I'll do anything and everything to not have to call that person.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I refuse to do it. I'm not, that's pride, man.
Yeah.
And I know it is.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. I know it is, but I'm not going to do it.
It's hard, man. The ego and pride.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of my biggest downfalls. And it's one thing that's slowed the growth of you know, the business and me personally is just being more focused on that. And I contribute that to just how I was raised, where I was raised, and how I grew up. You know, you always have to have that hard shell on, and you can't have that, you know, vulnerable side, or else it's going to get taken advantage of. Yeah. So it's got me in so many situations that, you know, I'm fixing to this day. Yeah. You know, relationships that I've ruined through business just because of something small that happened, that maybe I was looking at it the wrong way or what have you. You know, and I've just learned that, you know, maybe just take a different look at things. Right. But it's hard.
Or take a second look or third look at it.
It's internal, you know. It's a battle that I'm having with myself. I have to like physically catch myself and just like, you know what, if you keep acting like this, you're going to go down this path, and it's the least desirable path. Nobody's going to want to be around a person like that. I always say it's like the person that I was and the person that I am now, it's a totally different person. Yeah. You know, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. And I hope to be a totally different person in the next 5 years, you know, just growing, taking the positive things and implementing that into my life and trying to get rid of any negative things, whether it's feelings, ideas, or even people that I have around me.
Yeah, I blame all this that bad part of me on my dad. My dad is, if I'm this, my dad is. So I mean, I've seen him cut people off of that. I'm just like, damn. Yeah. But it is what it is.
A lot of that just always stems from, you know, family, the people that you were around, and what molded you when you were younger. And then you just get to that point when you're older, you just kind of reevaluate your life and like, you know, I don't want to be like that, you know, because I don't like people that are like that.
So, Mambo, with you saying that you wanted to apologize to yourself, is there anything else you want to say to yourself?
No, I'm good. I mean, we're all different. Yeah. I mean, I mean, you guys deal with things the same way. I'm just like listening to what you're saying. Yeah. I'm the opposite. I'm the total opposite. Like if me and him are walking somewhere and he says like, oh shit, there's so-and-so, I don't want to run into him, like we'll turn around. Yeah. If it's me, I'll say like, oh shit, there's so-and-so, let's go make him feel uncomfortable. So that's like the difference. You know what I mean?
He's right about that.
And to me, it's like, I guess with me, it was a guy I went to high school with. He was a lot older than me, and he, for some reason, like he always like wanted to fight me, and you know, when he was around his friends, he wanted to fight me, but when it was just me and him, like walking down the street, it's like all that shit went away. Yeah. And it wasn't until like I think I told you this story. Like we were at Q, and he had to ask me for help because they were having like a car wash because someone in his family passed away, and he apologized to me. And to me, I was like you don't have to apologize to me, you know. And to me, I felt like, are you only apologizing because you want us to put this flyer and this information out? I would have done it anyway, you know. I would have helped them out regardless of the history, but I seen how difficult it was for him to come ask me and apologize and do all that, and it was over something so stupid, like that I didn't even know what the fuck it was until he told me, what, like 10 years later, and it was just like the most petty shit.
All his girlfriends liked you or what?
No. It just had something to do with something that happened in class, and I'm like, but I don't even remember that shit.
When you think back at like all of the, like, for example, my situation, I think a lot of it really is just petty. Yeah. It's all so dumb and petty. It's just like, I was really mad about that because I went to bed thinking about my situation, and I'm like, that was just pretty stupid. I just, it really was.
Yeah.
But
it's good to have those realizations, either sooner or later. Like, it's good to turn that new leaf in your life and just
20 years later, but
hey man, there's people who don't let it go for a long time.
yeah,
there's family members that are fighting to this day. I have family members that they're fighting, and I'm just like, dude, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And you guys are all gonna regret this.
Yeah.
When so and so passes away, and we're gonna be at the funeral, and then now you guys are gonna, make amends.
Try to make up for lost time.
Fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah.
But then again, you can't tell somebody how to feel. Because then you're going to end up on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to block you. Or they're going to go down the wrong aisle.
That's hilarious.
So, we're working so closely as you guys do. There has to be times where you get in conflicts with each other. How often does that happen? And what do you guys usually do to navigate around that?
I'm going to say it happens just about every morning when we're working together because somehow, some way I screw some shit up. So, and he gets pissed. So
I don't know. I don't know who I was saying this to, but it's weird with me because sometimes like I like to go home when it's been like a long day. I just want to think and, I'll be in the car quiet with no music or nothing. Sometimes I think it's how crazy it is for us to have the on-air conversations and the off-air conversations.
Yeah.
Because sometimes on-air conversations, it's heated, but as soon as we get off, it's like, hey, how's the kids doing? Shit, type of shit. But then we'll go on, and it's back to like, fuck you, this and this. And then it's just like, I don't know. It's like two different people having two different
conversations.
Conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that over the years, we've been able to master, I guess, the personal and professional. I mean, I don't know, because we do have great, human, as I call it, conversations when we're off air. Not to say that we don't on air, because I think that we do, but I think that there is a human side to us where we do talk about family. There's been several times where I've come to Mambo with my personal, stuff that I have that I'm dealing with at home, be it with my wife, the kids, or, brothers, or whatever it is. He knows a lot of stuff about me that really no one knows.
Yeah.
More than Ray.
So
don't become another Ray either.
Right?
Come on, we were on a good road here, man.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's only natural. For example, I think that every marriage has its ups and downs. Every marriage is going to have their disagreements in it.
Yeah.
I think it's natural. I think it's healthy. We do that, but I think that because there's so much stuff that's always happening with us, we've got to learn to get over that real quick.
Yeah.
And move on to the next thing, or do the next thing, whatever that is. But it's by no stretch the imagination is our.
I don't think we've ever had like a real bad like argument type.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I think one time it did get out of hand on there, but I think to us it was funny.
Yeah.
And then I think you told me that your brother called you
and
asked you like, yo, is everything cool?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, my brother Alex, my oldest brother. He's like, hey bro, are you okay? Is everything cool, man? What's going on? I'm like, yeah, no, we're good.
Because sometimes, everyone has disagreements. Like he said, like, if you're with your wife and you have a disagreement, you go back and forth and but with us it's like it hardly ever happens. But I think in this situation it was going back and forth, and then it slowly
kept on getting like escalating.
Yeah,
like,
really.
Yeah, it'd go from 1 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 100. Like, what the hell's going on?
But to us, it was. I mean, at least to me, it was funny.
Oh yeah.
And then like the next day, he tells me like, "Hey, dude, my brother called me, made sure everything was cool."
Now, what kind of response do you guys get from listeners after something like that happens?
You know what? Sometimes like certain one of my friends like they said like, "Hey, is everything cool?"
Yeah.
Like, but it's not like, I mean, listeners like, I don't know. To me, I think they enjoy the the back and forth. I think a lot of people, since we started doing our show, have always said like, hey, I like listening to you guys because it seems like we're hanging out with our family.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's not a perfect family out there. Everyone has drama. Everyone has the two cousins that don't get along.
Yeah.
Everyone has the drunk uncle. Everyone has something in the family. And I think there's a lot of that in both of us, that when we do our show, there's something they could relate to.
Yeah. Definitely, man. One thing I could say about both of you guys is when you had me on the show, it just felt like I was just meeting some friends that I haven't seen for a long time. It's very welcoming, and it felt like it was just like friends, man.
Yeah,
and that's what you guys bring to the table for everybody listening. You know, it's and then I guess when things like that happen, it just makes it even seem even more real.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a show. These guys aren't just going off a script or something. This is reality, and there's something attractive to that for sure.
I think when we started working together as a show, I think that we didn't have to be fake. We didn't have to, you know, okay, I say this, you say that, then I'm going to come back with this.
Yeah.
You know, none of that setup crap. And I think that's why we don't record our like do pre-recorded, you know, breaks and stuff like that, because we just haven't.
Yeah, a lot of shows back then used to do pre-recorded bits, and we kind of said we would do the setup, but not know what each other was going to say about whatever the setup was, just to get that authentic reaction on the air. Because even if he was going to say something, I would say, "Shut up, dude. Tell me on the air."
Yeah, I got you.
And that was the setup. For the longest, it was like, you know, like whatever happens on the air. We just know that we can't talk for a long time, and we have to be out, and we're going into this song.
Yeah.
But eventually, we ended up how to figure out, you know, the beginning and the end, and we'll figure out the middle on the middle of
as we
during
go.
the show. Yeah.
Yeah. So say like an everyday on the show, what goes into production of it, and what do you guys have to have ready to go in the morning, and how long does it take you to get that all ready to go?
So with my stuff, the different songs that we play that aren't in the system is something that I get together. So he'll tell me. So basically, we have a map of the show, and Mambo will let me know, okay, this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to need this song or this sound or whatever it is, sound effect or whatever. So then I'll go look for it. And no matter what it is, I better fucking come with it.
Really?
Or else. No, I mean, but then, you know, on my part, you know, I feel like I'm not going to let him down. I can't let him down. So the times that I have come, and there have been a couple of times where I've come to him where hey man, I can't find this song. And I feel like I've let my mom and dad down.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like how. So it takes a lot for me to come to him and say, hey, I can't find this, whatever it is you're looking for. So, you know, I'll get like the technical stuff, the stuff on the computer. I'll get all that stuff ready. And kind of depending on what's going on, it may take from a couple hours to several more hours. Sometimes I can get it done real quick.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's like we try not to discuss anything, especially like personal topics that'll come up on the show. But he has a sheet, I have a sheet. I'll give him my sheet, and he combines them in one, and that builds the map to the show the next day. So if I see him, if I see his thing on my list that his personal topic that says argued with Glory, which is his wife last night. Now, if we're doing a break and I was like, hey bro, don't you hate when you get in an argument with your lady? And then
got you.
I already know that he has something to say about it. So it's kind of like bullet points for each other. And I mean, I know I like to go through that. A lot of the prep that I use is like, you know, any artist that we play, if it's a birthday, like a Tupac song, I'll make sure we play a Tupac song that we don't play all the time. And, you know, he'll go look for it and make sure it's in the system for the next day. So once the show is over, I think we spend like 2 hours,
Yeah, give or take.
about
Yeah,
2
yeah.
hours after the show, and just I'll work on the next day sheet. He'll work on his, and then once I give him the sheet, he starts getting all the audio and all the stuff that we need.
So for a everyday show, how often do you guys, or how much time do you spend talking to each other?
Oh, it's all day.
Well, so besides the music and such, would it be maybe like 2 hours of actual conversation, or?
Oh, like when we're on the air?
Yeah.
You know what? I think we do, because I've timed out a couple of different shows, and I think usually we do about an hour-ish, like in total, but we're not talking the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, we'll play music, commercials, so on and so forth. And sometimes it's a little bit longer than that, 120. It all depends on what's going on, but I think on average, probably a little over, maybe like an hour and 15, something like that, probably. And of course, the feature, our biggest feature, which is Dilemma of the Day, is what takes up most of that time.
Yeah, let's get into that, man. That's a big one for sure. What's the history on Dilemma of the Day?
Oh boy,
Just drama.
I think it was that somebody faxed us their problem or something like
Well,
that.
they asked us to come up with some features for the show, and I think during that time we just used to go on the air and have fun. Once we started working, once our boss at our new boss started taking his job a little more serious,
Yeah.
we figured that, all right, we got to start doing this the way radio works. So one of the things was coming up with the feature. And I think it was a combination of trying to figure that out. And someone did send us their problem. And it was just after we knew what the feature was coming up with the name for it. And I think during that time, that Mary J. Blige song was
Yeah.
No More Drama.
No
or
More
something.
Drama. Yeah.
So we ended up, Dilemma of the Day was
born.
yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was when we started the morning show, like 2001.
Wow. So you guys seen some crazy stuff, huh?
Yes, we have.
Is there any way for you guys to authenticate these emails or questions? Or?
No, and it's just people sending us their situation, their drama, whatever it is, and email us your drama, ricoandmambo@gmail.com, please. Always would love to hear from you. Now, there have been some dilemmas that have been like so out there.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, you're sick in the head and you really need some help, or it's just stuff that we'd rather not touch on.
Is there any that pop out in your mind?
I think now there's a lot of them, but one of the classics to me is there's actually two. There's
San Diego.
the San Diego one.
Oh shit.
So that was a dude that went with his girlfriend to go visit the family, and the dude ended up sleeping with his mother-in-law. Like,
Oh shit.
and then there was another one. I forgot where we did it, but it was a brother and sister who hooked up.
What the fuck?
Oh boy, I don't remember that one.
Yeah. So the reason I remember this was because I was tripping out,
Yeah.
but when we read the dilemma, they continued to do it. I don't know if you remember it.
I don't,
That they would go out and then they would come back home and then they would hook up.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, dude, it was like, that is some sick ass
Like
shit.
legit brother and sister?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And I was like, fuck, like people just trust us with their...
People do open up. I mean, we hear, and I don't know why it is, but Mambo said this on several occasions, that people will come up and talk to me in particular and just like let it all out. And I'm just like, whoa, what?
Yeah, and we get hit up a lot like, hey, those dilemmas ain't real. And like,
Yeah.
I get it all. Like, especially, I think dilemma is one of the icebreakers to start a conversation with us.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's
Like I said-
that's the one thing that people always bring up. And hey, man, I caught the dilemma about blah 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 blah, whatever it was, and then we get into conversation or whatever.
Now, when you guys go out throughout the city, going to eat dinner and such, do you get recognized a lot?
I don't. No.
Once in a huge while.
Yeah.
Once in a huge while. I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's not. We don't get hurt by it or anything like
No.
that. You know, it's
Yeah.
you know you recognize this and you come up and say hi. I mean, that's extremely.
I don't
flattering.
go out as much as I used to, but and when I do go out, it's around like, you know, like restaurants or like people that I know. Like for some reason I always go back to the same restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of the people that work there, but it's not like I don't know, like when you see someone in the streets, like, oh, they're so and so, like that. Never,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. More so probably because it's just radio.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people don't know what you guys look like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, or they just don't care about us.
I
which
think
is-
I don't think that's it.
I think with me, one of the things that tripped me out is one time I was at one of the festivals. It was I'm not sure if it was one of the wine festivals or something in downtown Ventura, and some guy hit me up, and I was like, "Ah, dude, this guy's gonna want to fight me over something." And that was my thing, but he kept coming closer, and I was talking to somebody, and then he's all, "Hey, can you say this?" And I was like, "Say what?" And then he's all, "I recognize your voice. I know who you are." So he recognized the voice, and
Yeah.
it tripped me out because I thought like, "Oh shit, this dude's gonna hit me up about something." I don't know. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But it was just funny because the people around there was the guy who was putting on the event, and then Sky, my business partner, and they were tripping out because it's like, yo, like he just recognized you from the voice.
Yeah.
But then after I thought about it, I was like, that's all. When they listen to us, that's all they know about us.
Definitely,
is the
man.
voice.
Especially if they listen every day.
Yeah.
You know, that voice is embedded in their mind, and they hear it. What is it?
yeah,
Are they playing the morning show right now?
yeah.
But speaking of your business, you got the Bloody Cure. How's that going?
It's still. I mean, the good thing, it's out there again.
Yeah.
But it's still. I think once these festivals start rolling, you'll see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, you know, speed bumps. It's like starting over almost again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last time we talked, that you were having the issues with the production.
Yeah. Now the production's there, but
Got
now
it.
it's like, you know, the pricing and all the shit I hate. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, anytime, a lot of people think that just because you have a business, it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you know, a lot of your friends and people who you meet, like, oh, you must have it easy,
Yeah.
because you own your own business, but it's actually a lot more work.
Yeah,
and you know,
definitely.
sometimes if you don't do enough, you don't get nothing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
When people think that just because it's in a major store, that you're already making money off it,
Yeah.
and that's not always the case.
So the Michelada mix, what stores do you have it available at right now?
A couple liquor stores right now, and it's at a few Vons stores in Ventura County.
Mm-hmm.
But before we had the production issue, it was in every Vons store in Ventura County. A couple Winkle stores here. I believe Bakersfield, and
Wow.
we were starting to like expand to the valley.
So you would go to a lot of the festivals
Yeah.
and set up?
Yeah.
How would that do?
Oh, amazing!
Really?
Like, yeah. The well, that's how we knew we were onto something, because when we first started doing it, it was more for us as an excuse to drink.
Yeah.
But you know, eventually, like, it turned into something
Yeah.
when, you know, it was just another excuse for us to have some drinks.
Yeah. So what do you see like the business coming to in this year?
I'm hoping. My main thing is making sure the production part of it is on point. I remember last time we ran into some issues with the people that were doing it for us. I mean, you come across like you know, the taste of it, making sure it's on point. You know, the bottles. Sometimes we had an issue one time where the bottles were exploding, and we had to figure out what the issue was.
Oh, wow.
And when it's a side business and you got a full-time job, it just, you know, it takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
But, you know, shouts out to Sky. He handles a lot of the business part. I do a lot more of the marketing and branding stuff with it. But
Yeah.
we all have our something we focus on for the brand.
Yeah, shout out to Sky, man. We had him on the podcast. He's a hustler, dude.
Oh yeah, he's got his podcast too.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be on it tomorrow, Sipping with Sky.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. And you did an episode.
You don't drink though, right? What do you?
No, he said that he's going to make me a michelada with like non-alcoholic
Nice.
beer. So I'm looking forward to that. I
So-
might just start drinking again.
He's telling me he's going to bring me some Pellegrino or maybe some of this Crystal Geyser.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Okay. I'm good.
But yeah, I'm excited about that, man. It's doing this podcast. It's been really cool to network with a lot of locals and to see what they're doing out here, because
there's a lot of good brands out here.
definitely,
Yeah.
man. There definitely is.
I think I told you when I first seen your brand, I didn't know what it was, but I like the brand.
Yeah.
like you did a good job, like,
Thank you,
putting
man. Thank
Downstar
you.
out there. And when we finally got to sit with you, I was
Oh, that's what it is.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
I was like, there goes those rappers again. There goes that record company.
I wish, dude. I wish I was a rapper. But it was hard, man. It was hard to make that transition from locally to like the automotive business and to have it big out here, because if the automotive community isn't really big out here, there's not much for us to
You know
do.
what I wanted to ask you?
Hang on. You guys talk. I got to go to the restroom.
All right.
You had posted a picture of I don't know if it was a shirt or something with Downstar when you were young.
Yeah.
Was that real?
Yeah. So that was when I was a sophomore, right? So when I was a sophomore in high school, I used to sell CDs, and I had a list, and that was actually a piece of paper that was the cover of my list. So it was like 5 or 6 pages that had all the CDs from Red Hot Chili Peppers, No Doubt, Eminem, Limp Bizkit, anybody, dude,
Right.
alphabetical order. So I would pass that list around inside of in my classes, and then I just called it Downstar because it was a play off of a skate brand called Dark Star. I was huge into skating back then,
Right.
so I just wanted my own name or what have you, so I said Downstar. So I'm going to class one day, and then they stopped me from the yearbook and said that they want to take a picture for the yearbook. I said, all right, cool. And I said, oh, hold on. I put the picture the paper inside of my jacket and like kind of held it so it looked like a T-shirt.
Right.
And they took the picture, and then it came out in the yearbook, and it says like Downstar ? And it said a lot of students decided to start their own business or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like in 2001, dude.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I see that picture, I was like, when did you come up with that? Like, what? Because you look young in that pic.
Dude, 2001, bro. I was a sophomore, man.
And that's when you came up with Downstar?
Yeah, that's when I came up with the name, because I wanted to call the CD business my own thing. I wanted to have like a name for it,
Right.
not just Frank selling CDs.
So you didn't know what it was going to be.
No, from 2001 to 2009 when I started Downstar, Downstar was my name for whenever I needed something. Instant messenger name, email name, whatever. Video
Wow.
games, if you need to start a profile, it was always Downstar, everything. So when I started the business, it was just natural that that's what I wanted to call it, because that was my name.
Wow, that's crazy.
That was my thing.
And to have this brand now,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that I ever expected. And it wasn't even anything that I planned on. Even the business itself, when I started Downstar in 2009, it was just a side hustle. I've always had side hustles and things that I would dabble in.
So that was that picture was, you said it was 2001.
2001, yeah.
Was that when you actually came up with the logo or
No, it wasn't even a logo. It was just the name. So that's when I came out with the name Downstar. I was saying that in high school, I used to sell CDs. So that was my hustle. So I had a whole list that would say the CDs that we would have. And I used to sell to teachers. So I would be in
Really?
class, and I would tell the teacher, and they'll look through the list, and they'll say, hey, give me this CD tomorrow. I'll say, okay, cool. I would go home, take whatever orders I have, burn those CDs, come back the next day, and then
Slang 'em.
And then that's where Downstar started from.
That's
dope.
crazy.
So whenever I needed a name for anything, man, if I'm at the library or something, and it's just Downstar everything. When I'm bored in class, just writing on my notebook, everything was Downstar. So when it came time for me to start the business, that was just
you already knew?
I just knew
Yeah.
because there's no other name that I would pick. it was either I could do something like Bolts or Us or something like that. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just do Downstar, you know. And fast forward 10 years, like what the name has become. It's crazy, man. It's hard to even believe, you know.
Right.
But it's awesome, man. I love it.
And Downstar could be anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
And that's why I was really happy that I did end up choosing that name, because it's not even automotive specific.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Downstar in the future could just be the umbrella company
Right.
that controls everything below. You know, you have the podcast side of it, the automotive side, the skateboard side, and shoot, whatever else
Yeah.
that I want to mix inside of it.
And congratulations on all of
Thank
your
you.
success, man.
Thank you so much.
that's
You guys,
I really
you
appreciate
got to
it.
bring the CDs back, bro.
I know, man.
Do you still have any of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a lot of physical CDs, man. It was just, even what I would do is if somebody bought a new CD, because back then it was like $15 for a new CD,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So $15 compared to $4, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somebody would have a CD, I say, hey, bro, let me borrow that CD real quick. I'll take it home, dub it, and now I have a master copy. And then every week or so, I would just update the list. And while I'm getting new CDs, I'm writing the names inside of there, and just the inventory is growing, man. And even the teachers, they're just like, you know, they're regular people as well.
Right,
Like,
right.
Man, I don't want to spend this much for that. Might as well get this. And I've always just had like that kind of hustler mentality.
Right.
See the opportunities where they present themselves that maybe other people don't see.
Yeah.
You know,
And take advantage of it.
take advantage of it.
As you should.
And that's always been like one of my strong points. Even when I worked at Best Buy, right, we would do say a stereo install. So say you have like a 2003 Chevy Tahoe and you want a new stereo in. So we'll take out your factory stereo, your factory equipment, we'll put new stuff in there. Now we would take the factory stuff and just leave it on the counter. And then they'll come and then we'll be like, oh, cool, here's I'm like, oh, what do you guys want us to do with this, your old stuff? And oh, go ahead, just throw it away. Oh, okay. And go home, go on eBay, put that bitch up. Dude, we used to make so much money doing that.
Serious?
Yeah, because if your factory stereo is messed up, you go to the dealer, it's probably going to be like $300-$400.
Yeah.
You know, we're selling for like $60-$70, dude. We'll sell them all day.
100% markup.
Hell yeah.
100% profit, I should
So we
say.
used to do that all the time, man.
It's smart, though.
Yeah, so wherever I seen some kind of opportunity, always got into it. I need to hone in on that craft a little more, 'cause I feel like I'm really spoiled right now. But just like with anything, man, I'm sure you guys could contest to this, is just consistency is key. You know, no matter what it is that you're doing, if you do something once a week, you know, YouTube video, podcast, or what have you, you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Someone's going to see that work that you're putting into it.
Yeah.
And for somebody that understands what it takes to put out that work, they're going to see like, yo, this person isn't giving up, and they really want it.
Yeah.
And then all these guys that you see that are popping up, like YouTube celebrities like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and things like that, the reason that they got to this point, millionaires at, 23, 24, because they've been grinding since they were 13, 14. But nobody really sees that.
Yep.
And they really don't.
They think it's
respect
overnight.
that.
Yeah.
Of course. And we get that sometimes too. People say like, wow, you guys blew up, man. I'm like, yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
10 years blow up, bro.
CDs, what? 25,000 burnt CDs later.
Dude. And I always understood like the more you invest in yourself, the more opportunity that you'll be able to make for yourself. Like I remember at a young age, I would take that money that I was making, I would buy like an external CD recorder,
Right.
Maybe more drives in the computer to burn more CDs at a time.
Been there, done that.
There's opportunity out there for everybody.
Yeah.
And so Rico, you have your own side business
Yeah.
as well. After Hours Production. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we are a sound lighting and staging company, and basically we provide sound for bands, for festivals and stuff like that. So we've been doing that, oh man, I don't even know, 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. Yeah. So it's, the word is still getting out that I do that. And it's a lot of work, especially the setup and the teardown.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. I take my one of my nephews, Esteban, my son-in-law Andrew, and I just kind of rotate with different people that I need. But they're my main go-tos, and we have a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun, and we've met a lot of great people along the way, and we deal with musicians on a daily.
Yeah.
And that's just because we have to contact the bands to see what their needs are on stage, and so there's just a lot of little technical stuff, and handling the technical stuff at work, I think has made it easy for me to kind of fall into this and be able to follow through with that.
How'd you get into like the technical side of things?
Man, I think it all started. So my dad retired from Six Flags years and years ago.
Oh, wow.
So because he worked over there when we were kids, we were always going to Magic Mountain, always going over like every weekend. And I think what really fascinated me was when we'd go see the concerts, because they would have like concerts all the time at Six Flags.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And so I always wondered, how come there wasn't any, I used to call it noise, but feedback between where the singer was, because I always noticed that they had speakers on the floor, which are now monitors. So I was fascinated by that. I could never figure it out. And then once I started getting into the business, once I think I just come home one day and I told my wife, I said, I think I want to do this. She's like, you're out of your mind. I'm like, yeah, let's go pull some money out, or let's figure it out. And
yeah.
So, and I've been able to figure out the whole feedback thing, and why the dynamics of the speaker and mic, and
He was always a technical dude too at our events.
Really?
Like, yeah. I think I've seen a couple of pictures when we used to go to high schools, and he was always in the mix and like hooking up the stuff. So it's crazy, like for him to have a side business like that now.
Yeah.
And seeing some of those old pictures, are like, oh yeah, you should have known that he was going to do that.
You're bred for this.
Well, I mean, I guess that at that time I really didn't know. I just liked the fact of the production end of it. What the outcome was. For as weird as it may sound, and I think I can speak for both of us on this, but we've never been ones for the spotlight.
Yeah.
I'd rather put somebody else, in front and have them do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Let me worry about all the technical stuff. And so, I've been able to do that for as long as I've been doing it. What I say, 10, 11, 12 years, whatever. It's been so far a great run. And I think that this year is going to really surpass what we've been doing,
What are some new technologies that you've implemented into the business?
Man, so when I started, the board that I had, you had to have a board physically in front of the stage so that you can, fix the mix of the band and stuff like that. Now we're walking around with iPads.
Really?
Everything is set off to the side or to the rear of the stage, and we're walking around with iPads. Just we look like geeks. So sometimes people think, hey, what are you playing on there? And they'll look and I'm like, well, what game is that? What app is that?
Yeah.
But we're fixing the sound is what it is.
So you have a pretty good ear to what needs to be leveled out?
I think I do. I'm not great. I'm not good. I think that once I reach that point to where I'm great or good is when I'll leave it, because, I don't want to stop learning.
He's the guy that says like, oh, that guy's charging too much. Call Rico. I'm just playing. He does a good job.
He does it for next to nothing. He's cheap, really cheap.
I've ever since I've done the show and I figured out that was your side business. I've always kept it in mind, and I've brought it up to a few people.
Thank you, man.
Especially one of our last guests was the Jeffy O, and he was on the show as well. He does the event production for some local hip hop shows and things like that. It's always good to know somebody, whether maybe we have a huge house party or something like that one day. Call you in and we'll do a Project X or something like that.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's have some fun.
Maybe when my son graduates from high school, do some big stuff or something like that.
Have a party for ourselves, not him.
Yeah, right? That's how all parties are. It's for the parents.
He's 18, but we got 3 kegs in the backyard. What the hell?
But speaking of that, I wanted to definitely highlight the show that you guys do, the local Fridays. That's the first time that I was on, and I got to meet you guys and just highlight what we're doing. And dude, I that was like a dream come true. Like I said, I've known you guys since I was a child, you know, and just to be on there, it just made me feel like I was hitting some sort of a milestone in my career.
Well, to say, for you to say that, the honor is truly ours to have someone like you or these other businesses come in. It's flattering to hear that, but to have you guys, the business owner it's
and artists, music artists, business
Yeah.
owners.
yeah, it's truly an honor for us to have you on the show.
Definitely. And it's just like to have somebody with a platform as you guys do to invite us on and to showcase what we do. There's not much of that, you know. There's not much of that around, that especially locally, that we have that for.
I think we've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and we've never gotten the green light from the boss. But once we were told, like, hey, do whatever you guys want, you guys are doing a good job. That was one of the first things that I wanted to do, just because, there's a lot of great mom and pops businesses out there, and a lot of great artists in this area that are, to me, they're dope. Like, you just had Anderson .Paak win 2 Grammys.
Yeah.
You have Kyle from Ventura, who, he's doing amazing work with his music. Also got into acting. Then you got Miles, who's on the show Blackish. It's just a bunch of talent right here in our own backyard. And to me, it was not that I didn't appreciate it, but when we had guests and we posted the picture with that guest, like, to me, I always wanted to put people from the area.
Yeah.
And same with businesses. Like, there's a lot of great restaurants out there that have great food, and maybe they just don't have the money for ad dollars, or maybe it's someone told them to open the business because they had great food. My goal is to get the word out there to everyone, let people know about this place.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great products that are out there also that that people need to know about.
Yeah.
The Sin Manchas.
Oh yeah.
Cleaning products, you sit there.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about this earlier.
And I was telling Rico too, like, there's more that we want to add now that we have somewhat of some freedom to not run everything by. I want to start bringing people in that are doing something positive.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's a business, just to give the youngsters, like, hey, I live here. This is all I'm going to be able to do. But no, like, we want to open up their eyes to the world and say, like, today we were supposed to have a promoter. He's one of the biggest promoters in California, who does a lot of shows, and he recently teamed up with Snoop, and they have a company, and we were supposed to have him on the show, and I want to have people like that it's not always about being on the spotlight. You could be behind the scenes and be very successful and still be in the music business if that's what you want to be.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been doing this for?
Today was supposed to be our first one. And it's kind of, to me, it's kind of starting like the local Friday.
Yeah.
So
this is a different segment?
Yeah.
It's a total different segment. Yeah.
So it's just getting people that are doing something, maybe you, the Sin Manchas guy is a perfect story because of, the way he created the product, and now, he's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good to see people hustling. Still he does the swap meets, he hustles on Instagram, and he's just creating that network and using those networks. Like, maybe you'll have him on the show because he sees us on there and says, like, hey, who's that guy? I want to be on that. And it's just showing that, you could be successful doing anything.
And not only that, but I think that to show the kids that you don't have to be from a big city to do whatever it is that you want to do in life. You can be successful and be from a small town, So, oftentimes I think people think that, well, because I'm not from LA, I don't have that LA mentality. I can't be a rapper, whatever it is. when that's completely wrong, because then you've got your Andersons, you've got your Kyles, you know, so on and so forth. And so to be able to put the spotlight on local talent like that, I mean, I think it's just
I mean, just like
honor.
you, bro, like you're here in the 805 and you're worldwide. I mean, last time we talked, I think you said I got to go for work to Japan. And I was like, yo, that's dope. You know, like you have this brand that you built here in the 805 and you know, you're around the world.
Yeah, I think a lot of people honestly just get in their own way, you know, and it could be the people that they surround themselves with giving them more negative ideas than positive, you know. But I mean, with technology, with social media, it doesn't matter where you're from. You could make things happen, you know. I see it happen all the time, especially with like up and coming rappers or what have you. Dude, they could blow up in 1 year. And it's just if they're doing the right moves, if they're around, you know, the right circumstances, and a lot of that is just putting yourself in those positions, in the conversation. And I think that's one issue really, is that people can't imagine anything outside of, you know, Oxnard, Ventura County, because they've never seen it personally. They don't have any friends or family that have done it. But now if they listen to, you know, a local Friday and they hear somebody and they're like, wow, I went to school with that dude. And that dude's doing that. Maybe I can do something like that.
Or if you have other music and we just happen to play one of your songs, they might go out and want to listen to your other stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe the right person that's going to help you get to that next step is listening. Same with the business, you know, for people that didn't know about your business.
Yeah.
You know, right now, I think the thing I like is how, I mean, I know both of you guys ain't drinkers, but I was just having a conversation of how big the craft beer world is here in Ventura County. Like, there's a bunch of craft beer spots in this area.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors, and we'll be back in 1 minute. Yo, what's up, fool? Make sure you check out Downstar for all of your dress-up needs. Get it poppin' over here. We have all the kits for the K series, the B series, the transmission, the mounts, the engine, the Toro, baby. We have the hardware for the seats, for the stereo. We got it for the speakers. We got it for the lug nuts. We got it for the air valves. We got it for everything, dog. So you make sure you hit us up at downstarinc.com or you call us up, fool. You can even text us, lame, 818-937-3472. Just shoot us a text and tell us what's up, dog. I need some fucking balls in this bitch. Hit us up, downstaring.com. Hey, and if you got an Instagram, slide in our fucking DM at Downstar. Wait, hit up the homie, Frank_Downstar. He's the one that takes care of all the DMs. Hit that level up and shoot him a message and he'll get you all taken care of real nicely. There's opportunity for everybody. And I always say it, if you're passionate about something, that's a bonus right there. Because a lot of people, they're not really passionate about something. But if you really feel you have a passion, like you do with your electronics, you know, with that, and to be able to turn that into a business is so much easier than just thinking about like, well, maybe this can make money, so maybe I'll try to learn about that. But that's kind of how we were bred, you know, going to school and, you know, you have to find a career. You have to find something that's going to pay well. But with all of that stuff, where does happiness ever come into play? It's not. That's never really a focus.
It's finding something you like to do and just doing it. Like, it's not.
I think once you
job.
once you have a job, that sucks.
Yeah.
Once you have a career, that's where you're just like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I look forward to coming to work every single day.
To me, I'm always working.
Yeah.
So it's not, even when I'm there, it's like, you know, I'm having a good time. One thing I can't stand is like people who are always looking at the clock.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on my 15-minute break right now.
Yeah.
It's 5:00. I'll do it tomorrow. Like, I get the HR department, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, we're creative people.
Same team.
Yeah.
But I just that's something I can't stand is I think when it comes to work, it's a lot different than what you were saying, is like finding a career and punching in at a certain time and clocking out at a different time. If that was the case, we wouldn't have content to talk about on our show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you guys find content, things to discuss? Do you do any sort of research throughout the week?
We always do research.
Yeah, we're always on the web looking for something, or if something comes up.
I try to localize everything. That's always worked for me, just because I look at stuff a little different than other people. I think we talked about the weirdest shit you've seen at a wedding.
Oh yeah.
And I was telling Rico, like, you know what's funny is, like, I always look for weird shit to happen at weddings, because I know something's always going to happen. So I always look for something to happen. And I think when I go somewhere, especially local, like, I try to see, like, what happened that I could talk about tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because maybe it's something that happens all the time, and whoever's listening, you just want them to relate to you.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm at the collection and I say, you know what, I hate when I'm crossing the street by Copper Blues going to the annex. It always happens. I almost get hit.
Oh shit.
Maybe someone's gonna say, like, you know what, he's right. Like, every time I go by there, even if it's something that small, like, someone's relating to it.
Yeah. It makes it feel more local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, these guys, even though you're on the radio, they're still part of the community.
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, though, it's just like he was saying, is that our minds are always going. We're either looking for you to fail or succeed in one way or another. We're going to talk about it, So, I don't think that our minds really rest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. There's been several times where in the middle of a dead sleep, I'll wake up and I got to write something down that I was dreaming about, or just, it's weird.
Really?
Yeah. I always text myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when something happens, I just, either email it or just send myself a text.
Yeah.
Do you guys find it hard to go to sleep at night?
Hell, I don't.
No?
No.
I do. Yeah. I usually go to sleep by 11:30, but sometimes, like, I'll be up, and it's just, even if I turn off the TV, I'm the type of person that needs the TV on to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But if there's something good, I usually end up watching it, and I'll get like 2-3 hours of sleep. And
Hell no.
yeah, so I have a hard time falling asleep.
Yeah. No, I definitely do, for sure. I think that's one thing that I found with a lot of creatives, is that it's hard to turn it off. It's like a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Your mind is always racing, thinking of something. And it's kind of hard, just for me anyways, just to, like, stay in the moment, because you're always thinking of something.
Yeah.
And that's always been one of my my opportunities, is living in the moment, realizing that this memory that we're making right now is more important than what's going to come after this memory, or what we have to do next week, or whatever, and even with my family, I remember maybe 2 years ago we went to Hawaii for vacation, and I couldn't turn off. I'm worried about what's going on back at the shop, if things are getting taken care of.
I think we're both like that.
Yeah. We are definitely like that.
And it's a shame, man, that you just can't let it go. You can't just be, it's not even being reckless. It's like just
it's
being
responsible.
Yeah, just
I think overly responsible.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
100%.
And I've really tried to focus on that a lot, and try to stop while those moments are happening, and just think, like, you know what, dude, you need to soak this in right now. All that stuff, you'll be able to take care of that.
You know what? There's only been one time that I can truly, truly say and mean that I was on vacation, and it was the first time that I relaxed.
Yeah.
Where I didn't think about, I shouldn't say I didn't think about work, but where I was just so relaxed. I was at peace. And that,
Don't say it.
And that, what?
Your first honeymoon? Was it?
No, no, it wasn't. I was in Georgia with my wife.
Okay.
My now wife. and you know, we were with my sister-in-law and her family, you know, her husband, and you know, it was just relaxing. We'd gone to several lakes and fishing, boats.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just fun. But you know, I really, since then, that was years ago, and since then it's been like, you know, when we were off, you know, I'd wake up sometimes in the middle of a dead sleep. It's like, are we on the air? I'd, you know, turn on the app, or I'd, you know, something. It's like, we on? All right, we're good. I can go back to sleep now or whatever. But I don't know. I think
That's how I am all the time. I'm always making sure websites, making sure we're on the air, making sure the app's working. So anytime, like, you know, I wake up, that's the first thing I do. Don't matter where I'm at. Don't matter if I'm on vacation.
Yeah. That doesn't stress you out?
Not really. I think it stresses me out when we're not on.
when you're
Yeah. Because now it's like, how come nobody called me? Or, you know, so it just sucks because me and my boss have this conversation a lot. And back then we had our bosses. We were the kids. We're the grown-ups now.
Yeah.
So now we got to be the responsible ones. So I think I look at stuff like that. Like sometimes I'll be driving and I'll be waiting for something to come on the station, and my wife will go to change it, and then I'll say like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And she'll want to argue because I want to listen to commercials, but it's not that I'm listening for commercials. I want to make sure something that supposed to happen at that time happens, or else I have to go into the station.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, I know that causes shit between us because she thinks I want to listen to commercials, which is not the case.
How do you guys deal with that balance of your family life versus your career?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of understanding on both his wife and my wife. You know, I remember telling my wife that I'm married to my job, and if you want to be my Sancha, we can give it a run.
Yeah.
You know, which and there's been plenty of times where we leave our families behind because we've got to go to work, we've got to go do whatever it is, and you know, it's a lot of understanding. But then, you know, for me, you know, when I spend time with my wife, you know, I feel like, okay, what do you want to do? I try to make it all about her. What do you want to do? And let's go do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's really kind of her understanding, and that little balance that there is, I think has really helped us out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important, you know, seeing things from both sides and being able to appreciate the lifestyle that the significant other is willing to put up with.
Right.
You know, because even in my business as well, it's just...
I mean, you travel.
Yeah, traveling.
You know?
I when I just got back from Japan, I was away for 7 calendar days.
You know what's crazy? I hate to bring this up, but one of the funniest shit that I've seen is you took a picture with somebody.
Yeah.
And your wife commented, "She's too close to you." I was like, damn, this girl's...
She's on it. She's on it.
Ashley is so funny, dude. I don't think that people understand like that her personality. She's hilarious, man. Sometimes we'll just be in bed just cracking up because she has very good timing. And that's one of the biggest things with comedy, man, is you don't have to be the funniest person, but if you have timing, and she hasn't, sometimes I'll just be dying, man. And we totally understand each other. But even with as close as we are and everything, it just, I feel guilty sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, being away for that long. And especially when I went to Japan, like, if something were to happen, like when we were on the plane, she texted me about the things that were going in Iran, the bombing that happened. Yeah. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, I can't, if anything happened, I can't do anything. I'm like 10-hour flight away. I can't even drive if needed to be. Right. And then towards the end of the trip, one of the last days, I wake up to a 5.0 earthquake, like 3 a.m. And I'm just like, oh, shit, dude. I'm ready to go home, bro. So it's just as soon as I land in L.A., I'm like, yes, I'm back. You know, traveling throughout the States, being away for 2 or 3 days, it's not that big, but when you travel overseas, it definitely tries you for sure. And I'm just so grateful that she's understanding of it. And I think this year she's hopefully going to be part of a lot of those trips as well, and like you said about, you got to enjoy your age when you're in it. Me being in my mid 30s and having these opportunities that we have, I want to experience this with her and with my son, and be able to travel and do these things, and not have to worry about like finances.
I think it's dope when we don't do it as much now, but when we used to do a lot of live broadcasts from theme parks, and we used to host like the Carnival Cruise party cruises and stuff like that. It was always dope to include our wives or our family when it came to the theme parks, especially the theme parks, because you got the VIP treatment. And then when you go on your own, it's like, what happened, Dad? We're not staying at the Disneyland Hotel.
Like, no, we don't have Disneyland Hotel money.
Got Motel 6.
Yeah, man.
People humpy next door. Didn't that happen to you?
It did.
Was it Disneyland or where?
No, we took in my nieces out of foster care, and we were visiting when they were graduating high school. We were visiting a bunch of different schools. So on this particular run, we were in Monterey, and we had stayed at, I don't know what hotel it was, but anyways, the next door neighbor, she is yelling. She is like, they're going at it. And I'm like, shit. Oh my gosh. So now there's my wife and I, and then there's my two nieces. Now they were in their bed and my wife and I were in the other one. As soon as I heard that, it was dark, but I'm just like, I closed my eyes like, I don't want to, you explain to your nieces what's going on, because
I'm asleep.
This is not my department. So that
man.
was uncomfortable, but anyway,
it happens a lot.
It does. It does.
That's hilarious.
So on the topic of traveling, where are some of the best places that you guys have experienced?
Bakersfield.
Shout out to Bakersfield.
What the fuck, dude? That's not a place.
That's barely California, dude.
Yeah, man, I don't got.
Bakersfield is a retirement for people who are from Oxnard.
Shout out to Bakersfield.
Shout out to Bakersfield.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm a gambler, bro. Vegas.
Vegas?
My wife hates that.
Yeah.
Because she'll every time I tell her we're going somewhere, she already knows where we're going. And then she'll want to have the discussion and say like, how come we can't go to Paris or this and this? I go, there's Paris Casino, there's New York, there's anywhere you want to go.
You want to go to Egypt? Egypt's there too.
There's a pyramid right there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but Vegas is my spot, like when I go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you like to stay at?
I like the MGM. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, every year there's a convention there. It's called SEMA.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So SEMA is it's an automotive convention for all the big brands, and pretty much every automotive brand. If you're anybody who's anybody, you're either there or like you have a booth there, and it's you showing off your new things that you have coming for 2020, getting new accounts and things like that. So that's our yearly trip, and when we do that one, I like to ball out. Because this is the end of the year. We worked hard all year.
Yeah.
So we usually just get like a nice room or something, and we'll be out there all week. And I love it, man. I love it for sure.
When is that? The end of the year?
Beginning of November.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually the first week of November. And what's cool is, say you have Toyota, they'll sponsor a night at the club. Well, a better example would be like Dub Magazine, right? So Dub, they would sponsor the night at Dre's, and they'll have a live performer, and you get in for free as long as you have your badge. And it's pretty much every single night someone's having something. Someone will have something. So we've seen so many promoters or musicians and stuff, concerts there, and we get in for free, and it's sick, awesome. Man.
That's dope.
So that's usually when I get my Vegas fix. And you go out there, you're able to network, talk to people, and it's just like gives you that spark for the next year coming up.
For me, I think that because my wife and I and the family obviously had moved to Georgia, And we lived out there for a little less than a year. But I think going out there and seeing like the Carolinas, Tennessee, just seeing all that is just beautiful, man.
Oh yeah,
it is. The lakes are incredible. I mean, it's
Is it like Bakersfield?
kind of,
but the opposite.
but the opposite. Exactly. But so I mean, I haven't been there since we got back, I think, but I just, it's nice. I wouldn't want to go back and live there.
Yeah,
visiting, being there for a week or whatever, I'm cool.
definitely.
But I come back home, and
Yeah.
I know that because I love this area way too much, man. You know, it's not humid over here. It's not, and you get all that over there. You know, the humidity and
What part of Georgia?
Coming.
Coming.
Yeah, that was the name of the city.
Really?
Yeah.
How far is that from Atlanta?
It's about 40 miles north.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're
got
in
you.
the North Georgia
You
mountains.
got you a shirt, bro.
It says "I heart coming."
No shit. That's a sick ass town, bro.
That's what it's called, though.
I'm surprised you didn't stick there, dude. You wanted to come back.
The dad jokes are coming. Don't get them started. Don't get them started, Frank.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
I love those areas for
Yeah,
sure, man. It,
yeah.
it gives you a different appreciation for
Yeah.
nature and for what that has to offer. You know, all those just little random lakes
Yeah,
everywhere. Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it, man. They're totally a different type of human being.
it's
down there.
it's definitely a different world on many levels. And I'm not gonna lie, I experienced a lot of racism when I was over there.
Definitely.
And so it's good and it's not so good, and it's just you make what you want of it at the end of the day. So
Are you guys in California for the rest of your life?
God, unless we get a $1 billion deal, that's going to take us elsewhere. But
Yeah, I think we're stuck here.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
man. I feel the same way. I've been traveled to so many places, and although I can see the value that they have, there's never a time that I don't want to come home.
right?
Once I
Yeah,
get
you can't
home-
beat the weather either, man.
No,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
not. People always talk about California and how expensive it is, and I'm like, yeah, definitely, but you get what you pay for,
Yeah.
just like anything.
I agree.
There's not only the weather, but the opportunity here is endless.
I know when I went to, and I'm pretty sure you experienced the same thing. When I went to go work up north, the weather, just the heat, like I couldn't wait to
Yeah.
to move back. So we pay for the weather here, and I think we for that time we went to go look for work in Vegas too.
Oh yeah,
That was like, fuck, I don't want to do this. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Vegas seems like it's blowing up, and I think in the next 10 years it's going to be a huge city, bigger than it already is now, with the stadiums opening up and such.
Well, I was just over there. Gosh, how long ago was it? A couple of weeks ago, a month ago,
Probably like a
something like
month
that. And so we went to go see one of my nieces graduate from UNLV.
Oh, nice.
And just driving around, and there's a lot of course, the stadium is coming up, which is opening up a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
But with that, there's this huge influx of people that are heading to Vegas to either for work.
Mm-hmm.
But along with that, the prices of the houses now, man.
They're going up?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Really?
like insane.
No way.
Insane. Like I saw an area, the houses were starting at, I think it was like 6.25, something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, that house is not much different than what's here in
California.
But yeah, it's not as expensive, but still, I mean, 6 something is it's a lot, for Vegas.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
for
one of the
Vegas.
benefits of Vegas. You can
Exactly.
go to Vegas with $300,000 and get a
You
really
can get
nice
a real
house.
big house too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I think those days are kind of long gone now, man.
We still got Bakersfield, though.
Yes.
Right.
Bakersfield. That's
Bakersfield, here we
a
come.
retirement home right there.
So, getting back to the podcast, what vision do you guys have in 2020 for the podcast and beyond?
Wow.
I think the thing with with having other people, like I get it, and I think you get it too, where things ain't gonna happen overnight.
Yeah.
And I think it's just making sure that the team sticks together, and if it, to me, that's not the goal. I'm not trying to get rich off it.
Yeah.
But I do want someone who's dedicating their time to it to benefit from it in some way. And I think that's my main thing with the podcast for this year, is making sure that, pretty sure he's the same way, making sure that, Stutter and Marco, if there's a way for them to get taken care of, is doing that. Yeah. Because I think at the end of the day, it's like, yes, we could be doing this, but if it starts becoming an issue and messing with your schedule, you're going to want to skip it.
Yeah.
And if you don't put something up, even if you're disappointing one fan or one listener, they might never come back.
Yeah, and it's hard to get those people in.
Yeah.
You would think that that your influence from the show, or even mine from Downstar, that it would naturally transition over, but it doesn't.
No.
Yeah. It's two totally separate entities, and although you may have some bleed over, it's not as much as you would have expected.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a grind for sure.
Yeah, losing one is losing many.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sucks, but it is what it is.
And just giving somebody something that they can look forward to is something beneficial as well. You guys upload, it's every Friday, right?
Every Friday we load it up,
Yeah, so that's something that people look forward to on Fridays.
And then the Instagram, make sure you guys follow it. Four Locos and FORLOKOZ. The most, some of the best inappropriate memes. Yeah.
I remember you guys talking about that on one of the past episodes about that affecting sponsorships.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, I want to make sure that even if it's a couple of bucks that we could give to the guys, because again, it's like, I know how much my time means to me.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they don't feel like, I'm doing this for nothing.
Yeah.
Like I don't want someone to say like, oh man, I really like what you guys are doing. How can I be a part of it? Can I sponsor the studio? Can I sponsor this? And then they look at our Instagram and it's, chicks with dicks, they're definitely not going to want to be a part of it. So,
yeah.
So it's just making sure that, they know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Rico, what about you? What do you think your idea is for the podcast?
I think for me is just to keep developing, for us to grow together, and see what can become of it, whether we do monetize or not. And I think what Mambo said is very important, is to making sure that, the guys are taken care of, and, hopefully that'll come. If it does, great. If it doesn't, knowing that we're together, we're still, we're going to be good, and we just got to push forward to it. So I think growing, us growing together is a real big thing for me.
Yeah, I'm sure it's helping them out, just being a part of it. It's something new and exciting, and it'll help them grow as well. And it's just cool, man. I love podcasting. I can do this every day. Really? I just love sitting down and talking to people, picking their brain, and maybe some things that they've gone through, some experiences, stories. I can use that and apply that to my own life. And that's why I love to give to our listeners, just something that they can use and hopefully better their day. If anything, just distract them from whatever they're going through. Maybe
for just that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe they have a job that they're not really into.
Yeah.
And if we can be that excitement or happiness,
getaway for the moment. Yeah.
Definitely. So speaking of happiness, what brings you guys happiness?
Family. I think outside of work, because like I said earlier, I'm always working.
Yeah. I
just think, like you said earlier, sometimes you and your wife, you'll be joking around and just laugh.
Yeah.
Like, if you rewind to 10 years ago, wifey and I were still waiting to go out and, have fun and stuff.
Yeah.
But now that I'm, 45, I'm a grandpa already.
Yeah.
So it's just fun to sit at home and bring up funny stuff that he was doing and not making fun of it, but just tripping out on where we're at in life and discussing that. And the holidays went by. I think most of us went, got to spend time with family. But I always think that family is there's drama, but not like drama there was back in the day. It's just happiness and being around family, having some drinks, and
definitely, man.
enjoying food. So
yeah,
I would say family.
I think not only my family, but being able to hang out with my brothers, my sisters, my mom and dad. And I think one of the biggest things that really fills me is knowing that I'm able to take care of my family, being able to provide.
Yeah.
And I don't take that for granted. I mean, I'm truly blessed by it. So I think that's really, that makes me happy knowing that I can, take care of them. And, if they need me, that most of the time I'm going to be there.
he has no choice.
Just being that rock, man.
Yeah.
Just don't lose your job because his direct deposit goes to her account.
Oh, shit. So how much allowance do you get during the week?
$20.
He ain't fucking lying, bro.
$20 a week. And today I spent, 17 of it?
17. He's got $3 left.
Yeah.
$3 till Friday or what?
Yeah.
He's good though. He's got a lot of gift cards that he keeps from her.
Yeah.
You keep from the giveaways or what?
That too.
She just doesn't need to know about everything, okay?
There you go. It's always good to have those little secrets here or there. I always buy car parts and hide them upstairs. And
you have them delivered here, right?
Yeah.
Because she's not here. Yeah.
You know what? We think we're slick doing shit like that, but next time both of you guys check their trunk.
I see it every day.
See what you guys find.
There's a package from Amazon every single day at the house.
You got what? But do you know how much I saved?
Yeah. My wife always hits me with the, I'm just going to see if it fits. If not, I'm going to return it to the store.
Oh, my God.
I was like, yeah, right.
Knowing damn well she tried it on at the store.
Yeah.
So, back to the radio show. When you guys have guests on, do they more than likely meet your expectations? You don't have expectations? Or basically, have you ran into anybody that that kind of gave you a bad taste in your mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it more likely than not?
No,
I think for the most part,
for the most part, the ones that we say like, hey, we're gonna get them in here, and if we're very busy, we'll say in and out.
Gotcha.
Meaning we'll get them in here, get the picture, get whatever we have to do, and we'll keep the show moving.
get them out.
But sometimes those are the best ones where we keep the interview going and we'll extend it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a good artist and we're disappointed, just because our vision of what that artist is I think it sucks more when you're a fan.
Yeah.
Because not only are you let down from not getting good content for your work, but at the same time as a fan, you're looking at it like, yo, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's
a letdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a total letdown. And there's been times where we've had people come in, we've recorded the interview, and
we never air it.
That's just
and it's like a big name too.
Really?
Yeah. Where we're just like, you know what, you're not only a dick, but you're a big dick.
I think one of the best ones that stands out, and I'm sure he's done a lot of growing up. Remember when we did a Justin Bieber a phone call?
Oh yeah.
So we did a Justin Bieber phone call, and we told them specifically, like, yo, we don't record none of our interviews. We go live.
Mm-hmm.
So when they set an interview up for you, they they're doing interview after interview after interview. So once they're done with you, you got like a 5 to 10 minute window, and then they have like a 2 to 3 minute break, and then they do the next station. So they're just doing that for, I don't know, 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, maybe even longer sometimes.
Wow.
So when we did ours with him, we were asking him questions, and he's like, "Yeah, hold on," and then he's like talking to someone else there, and we're like,
No
Hello.
way.
Yeah. And then it was a no.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, and then so I think we ended that one pretty good. But then, you know, that's one of the reasons we don't do phone interviews. Not only that, but our phone system sucks too.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have them live, and then it's easier to get a vibe from them. But some interviews that we've done on the phone, they've been great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some that, you know, I really I think it was Gloria Stefan that we did one time. Then that was like a great interview. She knew what she would, you know, we asked a question, she made sure it wasn't a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
And but then again, you know, who was the other one that we did? Sometimes Mariah Carey. We did a phone one with her. I think I told you about the experience when I did a live one. But they gave us a list of what not to bring up.
Yeah.
And they didn't want it live.
Yeah.
They wanted it pre-recorded.
They wanted it pre-recorded.
So I think it was that time she messed up at the
New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
So they didn't want us to bring that up.
Huh.
So since it was pre-recorded, we made sure we brought it up. So we didn't bring it up in the interview, but
It was brought up.
yeah. We brought it up.
The end result
When
was
we
brought
aired it,
up.
it was brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's just all through the magic of editing and how
Yeah.
we can, you know, so it's like, okay, we'll play by your rules, but in the end, we're going to play by our rules.
Yeah.
so my questions were set up to insert that in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So we made it fun.
Yeah. Now, who's somebody that sticks out as being better than you expected or that surprised you?
Man, there's been a lot.
You know, I think that a lot of the up and coming artists who it's either we're their first interview or, you know, because I think they feel comfortable, you know, we're just kind of like the way we're all talking right now. It's just conversation, and they don't expect that. I think they expect a lot of the generic questions.
Yeah.
You know, I think because we kind of have our own way of
We try to
whatever
make
that
it
is.
into a conversation,
Yeah,
like you said.
yeah.
Like we don't.
Yeah,
we
it's,
don't-
it's not
not
always
scripted.
Q&A.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
okay, I say I'm going to ask this, and you ask that, and you follow up with this. It's just
Comedians are always fun too,
Yeah.
just because, you know, they have a lot to say, and you kind of just set it up and let them go.
Yeah.
And most of the time, all the time, we're just laughing because how funny they are.
Yeah.
I like when there's back and forth. Who was that comedian? He's Asian dude. Me and him went at it on some stereotype stuff.
Bobby?
no,
it wasn't
not
Bobby.
Oh, I know who. Steve Byrne.
Steve Byrne.
Steve Byrne.
That was fun. Just because we tried to outdo each other on stereotypes without really saying it or getting in trouble, and that was fun because it was just like a different side of it. And the Wayans brothers, they're always a good time.
Yeah.
They're always fun.
Felipe Esparza, another one.
Yeah.
Bobby Lee. A lot of comedians, they just, you know, you set them up and they know.
They go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah.
Have you have any of these interviews turned into like friendships?
Man, I would say like less than 0.1%.
Yeah.
A lot of it is you get them every year or twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, how you been? Blah, blah, blah. But it's not like, you know, I have a lot of their numbers and it's just like, you know, back and forth or sometimes they'll say, hey, I'm driving through your hood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. Every so often, like, you know, it's like a conversation back and forth, but it's not a lot. It's not like, hey, come over for Thanksgiving. Like none of that shit. But
Yeah.
That's cool, man. How long did it take you guys in your careers to, I guess, not be starstruck by these people that you would have to speak with, if that even occurred?
I think you said that you still get starstruck.
I do once in a huge while. I mean, I really have to want to.
I do it a lot, but I just try. I mean, with the up and coming artists, like my job is to look at the up and coming people, especially like when I get a ton of emails from new music, new artists that are coming up that just signed to the label. So my job is to listen to this new music. So I kind of become a fan of certain artists. So when I know that they're going around, I already know a little history on what they're doing. And sometimes I'm already a fan, when they get here. But I think, was it this morning we were talking about Too Short and E40?
Oh, yeah. Now,
like
when we had them in studio, I was starstruck.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes you get like big names like that I grew up with even before I was in the business. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, we're about to interview these dudes. So, yeah.
That was like surreal. Like, I was just like, not one, but two living legends.
Wow. At the same time?
Yeah, man.
No way.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And that's something I'll never, ever forget. And I think that's probably like one of the last times that I was really starstruck, but, it'll happen once in a huge while, but not too often.
Now, as far as music-wise, what are you guys gravitating towards nowadays in your personal time?
I listen to everything. I mean, I have to listen to all the new stuff, and I enjoy a lot of it. I mean, a lot of people my age, they always tell me like, how can you listen to that garbage, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I'm just thinking like, in my head, I was like, that's the shit the older people used to tell us.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to music. I mean, I listen to all types of music. But I think right now I really like the funk sound, like the new stuff, the disco sounding. Some of it sounds like very poppy. I've always liked the dance music sound, but when it's like up tempo and it's funk, like I really dig that.
Nice.
What's that music? The what would you call it? The style of dance music that I like the.
I don't know. I
vocal
always,
groove.
Like the groovy house, disco house, groovy disco house. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
I just you can put me in a room, turn that up as loud.
He dances topless in the studio sometimes.
Oh hell yeah!
I'll do it now if you want.
You got live stream it.
Live stream it.
I'm not trying to gross people out, but no, I like that. And like Mambo, I like to listen to a lot of random stuff. I don't have. Well, I like a lot of the old school music, Daz Band, Jackson's, whatever. Earth, Wind, and Fire is one of my biggest, I'm a huge fan. Moore's Day and the Time. But I'll listen to anything. And I guess because of my sound company, and I have to work with so many different genres of music that, I'll listen. I'm not bothered by listening to country or, whatever.
Rico's an 80s head, bro.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah, I love 80s too.
80s
I mean,
music?
I grew up with it. I mean,
if an 80s song comes out and I say like, what is this? He'll tell you artist, title, and the year it came
Really?
out. Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
It's good to have that knowledge, dude, especially that.
But let me tell you this. Let me stop you, right? A lot of that knowledge I know is just meaningless. It means nothing.
You know what's funny? When I first, I don't know if you remember this, but when I first started working with him, he used to pick me up and take me home. And he had this book. It was like a
was
billboard.
It the billboard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have those.
And he told me, you got to get one of these. And I was like, what the fuck do I need one of those for?
Yeah.
But it had all the information about the song, when it charted, and
shit.
And they release those like every year?
Yeah, every year. Yeah.
So it had all the information and history on songs. And I'm like, what the fuck do you need that shit for? But now looking at it now, it's like, that's why he knows all the dates and all that shit. Is because
it's just geek stuff.
Yeah.
I just geek out about it. I don't know. I'm weird, I guess.
Do you guys still feel passionate about music?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll listen to something, and sometimes I'll listen to. See, I've always wanted a bunch of Latin artists to be in the same level as you know, a black or white artist, and I just think that it's always been there's only room for one.
Yeah.
So I always try to push that music wherever I go. I listen to it a lot. One of the artists right now that I really like is King Lil G.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
He's a real dope.
Mm-hmm.
But I always try to listen to the new artists who are trying to come up.
Yeah.
And I know he's been around for a while. Radio play doesn't even exist to him for him, but he's I think he's a very talented dude.
Have you ever reached out to him and have him on the show?
I think I've reached out, but it's been the typical DM, and I really don't do that a lot.
Yeah.
I usually wait to, contact someone at their label or their management, and, but most of the time I do reach out to people.
Yeah.
But I never heard back from him, but
yeah, he's dope, man. Just the quality of his music, the things that he talks about, and you can hear the real life stories that he has, and then to see his merch, go from there. That's a totally different brand as well. He's doing it really well, man.
And there's a lot of artists locally too who I feel are at that level, and that's why when we do the Local Friday segment, it's just trying to make sure that they take advantage of that and use that to network with other people and other artists.
Yeah.
But I feel like 805 there's a lot of talent here.
There is, man. And ever since we've been in contact, you've told me about the value that is in the 805, a lot of the businesses, musicians, and things like that. And I've been trying to highlight that as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And we have a large following here locally. Yeah. Like I said, something that we've never had with Downstar. So if this can be a platform that we could have some of these guys on, I mean, the most that I can do, have them on, that would be great, just to help out, because I know with anybody, I'm sure with you guys, with me as well, is just when you're on that grind, any small bit helps.
Yeah.
Right.
Any bump that you get helps.
Well, I mean, if there's anyone who wants to get at us, I mean, we have our Rico and Mambo at Gmail email account that you can always feel free to shoot us an email and, send us some of your music, let us know about your business, and, we'll get a hold of you. I know that we're booked up months out.
Yeah, we're like 3 months in right now.
Yeah.
So it's booked for the next couple of months for Fridays. Yeah. But again, like we're trying to do other features on our show to be able to do more and have more conversations with again putting out a good message, where someone used to do bad and is now doing good with the business. We want to highlight stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely, man. Dude, you guys do so much for the community, and I thank you for everything, man. Especially just giving me this opportunity to speak with you guys. This is huge for me, and it makes me feel like I'm on a good path, and I appreciate that for sure.
Well, thank you, man. It's a total honor to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course, dude. It's always just good to talk to you guys, and just to be able to see someone at your level and what you guys do, and just for you being so down to earth. It's appreciative for sure, because a lot of people, they're not like that. They're making it, they made it, and that's all that they're concerned with. But for you guys to have so much love for the community and help out the community with the Local Fridays and things like that, or just being so available to DMs or such.
But also shouts out to the people who do come through, because it's like they're doing us a favor too by coming in. I mean, they don't have to wake up that early to come in and do this, but thank you for having your business in our own backyard and sharing it with everyone here. another thing is like Rico and I, you know, we've seen good leaders in our community, and we've always seen that's been important for us to not. I mean, I've never felt like I've had to do this. Like, we do it out of love and making sure that these kids.
But I think that's
coming
also,
up.
I think that's also been a part of our, I hate to call it success, but is that because we don't feel like we have to. And that was one thing that I think we discussed early on, is that let's do things from the heart, and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. And
because I've worked with people who do things because it was going to make us look good, because we were going to get pressed for it. No. And that's not me. It's never been me. And that's why, I guess, why we always like to put the spotlight on others, because we're, for as odd as this may sound, we're not comfortable in the spotlight.
Yeah.
We hate the spotlight, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
You know, so to be able to put somebody else, I think that makes us feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's always like even when like with us, like when something in music happens and there's a you know, the newspaper or the TV station, and they'll say like, hey, we just want to get a few words like about this and this, and I'll say like, oh yeah, call our DJ, this guy. And then our DJ will come in like, hey man, they called me for this. So I was like, oh, that's dope, bro. so it's just doing shit like that, you know what I mean? And you know what, I need to shout out Manuel Lopez, Dr. Manuel Lopez, who recently passed away. He used to be the mayor of Oxnard. He was real good to us, man.
Yeah.
Him and his family, you know, they didn't have to. I mean, we were recognized when we were we doing mornings already? We were, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think we had just started doing mornings.
And he recognized us at one of the meetings, gave us a key to the city, and
wow.
And
yeah,
it was just a dope experience. As I mean, me for a kid from Santa Paula, youngster, to be recognized by, you know, by a mayor is just like, to me it was like, wow, like this is dope. Like, you know, we need to be like him, and not, you know,
recognize others.
Yeah,
others and their talents.
Yeah, definitely, man. You guys are doing great things with your platform, and you know, I've talked to a few people that have been on the show, and just when they speak of that experience, their eyes are just lit up. You know, they feel the same way that I did. We grew up with you guys, and to be able to have that opportunity to just be in the studio, it's awesome, man. And it's great. It's a great thing you guys are doing, man. And I appreciate it for sure.
Well, thank you, man. We're lucky to do what we do, and to be able to make you feel that is beyond. So
yeah, man. So before we get out of here, where can they find you guys at?
Instagram, Rico and Mambo. Facebook, Rico and Mambo. My individual Instagram is DJ Mambo,
and mine is Rico_radio.
And then we got the podcast,
Four Locos, FORLOKOZ on Instagram, and there's links there to the podcast. It's on SoundCloud. Just look for Four Locos, FORLOKOZ, and you'll find it.
And then you can also, sorry about that, you can also download the Q95.9 FM app, or you can listen to us anywhere that, you know, that you go, you know, on your phone. And Q959.fm is our website. It's Q959.fm.
If you're feeling homesick, just toss it on.
Yeah, all right.
And the businesses?
The Bloody Cure. That's on Instagram, and catch us at one of the beer festivals, wine festivals, tequila festivals, margarita festivals. Those are going to be coming up in spring here locally, but you know, all these festivals traveled up and down California, so we'll definitely be at those too.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Mine is, my website is ahpsound.com, or on Instagram at ahpsound. So After Hours Productions, man.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah. And if you guys ever need anything in the future, if we could ever help out, please just let me know.
I think we need to do something though, bro. Like,
I'm down for
now
it.
That well, we definitely need to bring you back on the show for Local Friday.
Yep.
And we need to do something with the skateboarding stuff too.
Hell yeah.
Like we've
man.
talked about like doing something, but I know the skateboard companies is coming for you quick.
Yeah.
So we need to hit up these skate parks, bring some artists to perform.
I think that would be really
do
cool,
some
man.
Have Rico barbecue for the kids.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Sandwiches.
Either that or let's have.
I mean, he's got the sound company, bro.
Right. I mean, let's make something happen with that, man. Let's do some kind of fundraiser, something. We donate the monies to somebody who needs it, like me, and we're good. We'll call it a day, man.
Yeah.
See, but I think stuff like that, like how you're starting the skateboard company. If we do some giveaways, if you do like certain things, you never know if that kid who you give that skateboard to is gonna become a professional skater.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So it's always good to do events like that and do giveaways for these kids, because I've shared this story before. I never wanted to be in radio. I remember going to career day one time, and this dude that did a Spanish station came to our station or to our school, and he was paying people to go up there and speak, but he wasn't telling them to, that he was going to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I went up there, and then at the end, he's all like, here's some money. That's how much you would have made if you were in public speaking or doing radio. So when this opportunity presented itself, I was like, all right, like let's see if that's the money they're gonna pay.
which is still not what's happened, but we'll get there.
But I remember that story, and look what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
Just planting seeds, man.
Yeah.
I could look at so many pivotal moments in my life that at the time I didn't even think that they were pivotal moments, but looking back now, if it was a certain person that I've met or an experience or what have you, it meant a lot, so if we can be that for somebody coming up, somebody that wasn't that for us when we were coming up, the more opportunities that we put out there, the better.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to come out of that seed.
Let's make something happen.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's do it.
I'm up for it, man. I really appreciate you guys once again for being here.
Yeah, thank you again for having us.
Yeah, definitely. And I look forward to the podcast. Shout out to Stutter and Marcos. This dynamic is pretty crazy, man.
Yes, it is.
I want to get Stutter on here, bro. I got to hear some of these stories.
Bro, you need 5 hours, bro. 3 is going to be stuttering.
All right, guys. Once again, this is Downtime with Downstar, episode 139, and we out. Peace.